You've been read.
Hey Vivid, I submitted a story earlier, but now that I look at it, it's not really worth reading. So I have a pretty juicy and maybe a little long story for you. It's called The Former Weeb. Me, the weeaboo, M, my bully, and B, my other bully. Way back in 4th grade, I was diagnosed with ADHD. Hey, same here, though, a little bit later in life, which affects my life to this day. I've been bullied because of it, too. I was bullied up until I transferred to my current school. As a way of coping, I turned to the internet, and now I'm addicted. Anyways, I wasn't the biggest weeb, I guess. I didn't speak broken Japanese or try to act like a super kawaii sugoi doki doki anime girl. I did, however, show my interests to the public. So 5th grade rolls around and I get bullied even more severely. I get pretty depressed and become the living definition of antisocial. So 6th grade, it ruined me. Literally, there were these two boys, M and B. They treated me like absolute shit. Not only did they make the whole school hate me, they made me look like a psycho. I remember that their friends used to drag me behind the gym and beat me up. What did I do in retaliation? I did nothing. I did try to get back at them once or twice, but I gave up easily. One day, while I was sitting in class, they came and started to bully me again. They told me that nobody loved me and all the cliche stuff. They told me to die, of course. I can't remember much else. I guess I blacked out. I don't know. I had a pair of scissors in my hand, and before I could do anything, the counselor gripped my wrist and led me to her office. I was scolded badly. I ended up having a panic attack and a week of suspension. Later that year, M and B were bragging to their friends about finding my Instagram. I told the teacher, who of course didn't believe me. When I went home, I looked at my mom's phone. Guess what? They weren't lying. Here's some of the comments they made. Badass, why are you even still alive, etc. But by far the worst were these. I had taken your picture with some dogs at a shelter earlier that year. Your parents look great. Yeah, they called my parents dogs. You could only befriend gay people anyways. It was on a picture that I took at a Lady Gaga concert. I saw some cosplayers, so I wanted to take a photo. I cried until my mom came and I saw what happened. She and my dad called the school, who arranged a meeting with the headmaster of the school. The next day, when I went to school, I was called to the counselor's office. M and B were crying and begging for my forgiveness. I did forgive them at that moment, but I wish I hadn't. The rest of the year went okay. Why am I telling this? First, I had an idea while talking to a friend of mine. Second, I realized how much of a weeb I was back then, and third, I wanted people to know something about me. If you read this on your channel, thank you so much. I really like your videos, and I hope you make more of them. Thank you so much. I'm sorry that it took so long for me to read this story. I really am, but thank you for sending this. It's almost a bit scary how almost similar this story, your story, is to my own experiences in school as somebody who was very outcasted, who didn't have a lot of friends and was treated horribly by the people around me, and whose teachers didn't really do anything. It resonates a lot with me on the personal level because it's very similar to the stuff I myself went through, and I'm sorry you had to go through that just because you liked things that you liked and because of something you could never change about yourself. But thank you for sending me this story. I hope to hear from you more, maybe perhaps in a better light, something that isn't quite as bad as being bullied for something like that, but thank you. Comment of the week comes from The Grasp, who says, cosplayers who devalue things that are not anime that are cosplayed just because they aren't anime are so cringy. LMFAO. Indeed, they are. So I've been going to anime gaming fan conventions since 2007. I usually attend 3 or more per year, and I think I've attended approximately 19 since I've started. This story happened at my very first con at Anime Evolution 2007. It was really shocking seeing so many merchandise and so many people dressed up. I ended up buying a Death Note and an Akatsuki robe from Naruto, something I will always regret. Never buy a costume at a convention. After 2 days of basically just walking around, checking out the dealer's hall, artist alley, on the third day I got dragged into a signing session with some friends. They had set it up where each guest was given a station and the line you were in went by all of them. I got my Death Note signed by a few various voice actors, though at the time I really didn't know who many of them were. The final guest, however, was Scott Mcneil, who, if you don't know by the name, I'm sure you've known by the voice. Hack from Reboot, Rat Trap from Beast Wars, Koga from Inuyasha, Duo from Gundam Wing. Unfortunately, right before anyone from our group could get his signature, he had to leave for his Q&A panel. To compensate us for waiting, we were granted immediate entry for his panel with the promise that we would get his signatures after. The panel was fun. He shared it with Trevor. The panel was fun. He shared it with Trevor Duvall, if I recall correctly. During the panel, however, I discovered that Scott would not sign Death Notes. I don't know how prevalent this is today, but back during the Death Note's peak of popularity, several voice actors refused to sign Death Note replicas out of the superstition or just fun. Quickly, I ripped out a page from my book, wrote down the words "definitely not a," and folded it up on top of the front cover just above the logo so it read "definitely not a Death Note." The panel ended and we were escorted to the table where Scott and Trevor were doing signings. I walked up to him, doing my best to hold my excitement and laughter. I handed him my Death Note, already opened. Just before his pen touched the paper, he asked, "Who am I making this out to?" Then he looked up and saw what would probably be the worst poker face he'd ever seen. He gave me a confused look, closed my Death Note, saw the logo. "Gah, I knew it," he shouted. "No, but look," my friends and I, pointing at the slip of paper I attached to the cover. "Oh yeah, definitely not a Death Note. This is legally binding now, isn't it?" In the end, I had to give him something else to sign, but it made a lot of us in the line laugh, and it was probably one of my favorite convention stories to tell. First comment comes from Sai Irizar. The first prop, and my friend joined with me, was a shiny, normal Jafloon for Otakon. I couldn't get them to float, but it was cute as the dickens. First prop I ever made was Silka's sword from Fire Emblem Echoes. It was poorly made out of cardboard and paper. About a week before the con, somehow the sword came into contact with water and the cardboard ripped. Only the bronze hilt is left. Question of the week for us will be, what got you interested in anime? To me, it was more or less Toonami and stumbling across anime by myself, but for some people it might be different. So, what got you into anime? Leave your answers down in the comments below and it might appear in a future video. Anyway, thanks as always. See you next time.